card design. So I'll bring up the stamping platform again. Just going to grab a little bit of tissue to wipe this down so we don't get this pink on the next stage. Just wipe that off the inside as well. Brilliant. What I've done, and just save a bit of time today, is I've just used 2 of my nesting dies. I think these are the Stamps by Me ones. So I've just got the small and the large one, and I've cut out some black mats and some little white layers to go in the middle of them. So I'm going to be using these 2 sizes. But I'm sure you didn't want to see me running those through today, so just get these. And then we've got our 3 little squares, so we're going to put them there. And because these stamps are so big, you can position them where you want to. You could actually, if you wanted, like split your design over 2 to make it really funky so it goes down the actual page. I think we've had a few technical issues with the start of the show, so I do apologise if you've only just connecting with us. I do apologise. I think it affected YouTube and Facebook, so hopefully you're now seeing this live and you can see where we're up to. So I'll just recap in case you did miss it. But this is the card we're going to actually be creating, so I can put that there. So we've just started on the background of this one. I'm going to do it in a different colour font, so I've already started it off. And you can see we've got it in a pink. So all I've done is the background. We're going to move on to the front of the card now. So we'll pick it up from there. Oh, them gremlins, they're terrible, aren't they? So we've got our lovely male character. I'm going to put him just in there. And then we'll get the female just there, I think. Just so we get a hair in there and the top's open a little bit. And I just need to find one more stamp. Here we go. So I've got the one that says Eat, Game and Sleep, which is like the circle design. So let's go for Eat and Game, just in that top corner. I'm going to pick these all up together. I'm going to be brave, see if we can get it all done in one. Put that up. I'm just going to get my black ink pad. Give them a good covering of ink. Flip that over and give that a good push down. Tracy's happy 2nd birthday to AVAGO. Oh, thank you. 2 years and I'm still here, look. Still inspiring you. I don't know whether I asked the question earlier for you to comment which has been your favourite collection up to now. So with the Gremlins, I'm not sure if you got that message, but it'd be just nice to know what you've enjoyed the most up to now. We're also having a giveaway today, so if you didn't catch that bit as well, after this video is finished, just put a comment on the YouTube video. Just wish us a happy birthday on there, and I'll enter you into the prize draw. I'll draw it later on in the week, so it gives people who watch this on catch-up time as well to enter. But it'll be just a bit of an AVAGO goodie bag to celebrate a 2nd birthday. So there's a little giveaway for you as well there, look. There we go. So we've got our 3 little design extracts. I'm just going to take them out of the stamping press. Move these out the way. Put that down there a second. So I normally colour in the main images, don't I? And I thought on this card I'm going to actually go the reverse and colour the outside to make the image white so it like pops out a little bit more. So what I've done is, bearing in mind we use the pink ink pad, I've chosen like an alcohol marker that's complementary to it. And I'm just going to go around our character and just fill in the white areas that makes her pop a little bit more. And it don't matter, if you want to colour them in, you can do. I just thought this was a little bit different, because normally we colour just the main image in, don't we? I thought we'd do it in reverse this time. Ooh. So I'm just following around. Down this side of the head. And we'll now do the same for the gent in the collection. Tracy says she loves them all, but her favourites were the elephants. They were cool, the elephants, weren't they? Especially the one on the balloon. I think I'll always have a soft spot for the dinosaurs, because that was the very first collection we launched. So I'm just pulling around this. And just down this other side now. So Leslie's put eczema. So is that the little penguins, you mean? I know, they weren't here for long, were they? They sold out really fast, those. I think we've still got some of the trains in stock there, which are, I think, are brilliant, especially if you've got our early collection, the little, the owls with the cups and the little hats. They'd look brilliant in that train. I was thinking about the other day. I was going on to this third one. Bringing that colour around here. A bit easier this as well if you're not very good with the mobility, you don't want to do all the small areas. A little bit easier just to take out the bigger areas and still leave the design. So just round those little Zs and that controller on this big piece of pizza. And nearly there. There you go. So we've got our three kind of like little snapshots of the design. So I've got the matte layers now to put them onto. So let's get these glued into position as well. Get that into that one. Hold that down. First is, I wish I hadn't made me shoes. It's one of my most used is the dino, and I'm currently using the cute penguins. Oh, do you know the thing is that they're all friendly, they go together, don't they? And there's no rules against dinosaurs being with penguins, so you could actually incorporate them together. Let's get these other ones done. And then we'll put this one on. Just give them a second to grab. And I think we'll get some foam pads on these to give them a bit of height as well, because then it gives it a bit of a multi-level. But you could keep it flat as well, especially if you're concerned about postage costs. So one onto here. Yeah, I'm doing well. They're not fighting back yet, these backing papers. Here we go. We'll bring back in our card. So I know that I've got this is my kind of sentiment on this one, so I'm going to put this one here anyway. And I can then use this as a bit of a gauge where I want the other two to go. So it's whether we want the female or the male at the top. So I think we'll have her up at the top this time. And then this one down there. And there we go. It's just a really cool card, isn't it? It shows you how effective that background stamp is. And whether you want to do it in female kind of tones or more masculine tones, it really does lend itself, that collection, to male and female. So I just wanted to show you how easy that background is as well to build up. So given that it's a small stamp, you can get a full page to it like that. It's a really good idea, isn't it? Hopefully that inspired you anyway. So what we're going to do now is I'm going to give you some inspiration from some of the AVAGO collections that have been in there. Might be like a trip down memory lane as well. You might see some collections you own. And I'll join you back here in a couple of minutes for the next demonstration. All right, see you in a second. And welcome back. And there's some lovely inspiration there. And a lot of them elephants as well, which you comment on, were in that VT that you just watched. That was nice. I think someone's just joined us as well, saying they were late. Glynis, welcome, love. Thanks for joining us. Don't worry about being late. We did have some gremlins anyway. So we've done one demonstration. We're going to move on to our second one now. And this one's just a little bit more fun. It shows how we can add a bit more texture and layers to our card. Just pop that there. So you can see we're going to use that stencil background, which is that kind of like gamey kind of block design. I'm going to show you how to give that kind of glitter effect, and then we're going to build it up so there's quite some layers on this one. So it's like threefold from the base. So let's get started on this one. So I'm going to bring up a piece of black card first of all. And I've got that lovely big stencil that's in the AVAGO range, the one with like the kind of gaming background with the blocks that fit together. So let's pop that onto there. I'll just actually use a scrap of paper, but I'm going to use it in embossing ink. I don't want to get it all over the mat. So let's do that a little bit off angle so it's not too neat on the edges. It'll look a little bit better. Actually, nearly forgot, didn't I? I need to just rub it with the anti-static bag. Let's give that a good tap around there to make sure we're well anti-static. Then we can put this on there. I'm just going to move that off just so it's not neat on one edge, so it gives a better design when it's actually done. I've got my embossing pad, and all I'm going to do is push through this actual stencil onto this piece of card. So just going to apply a bit of pressure so we can get this design inked up. If you do this at home as well, I always suggest like having a bowl of water at the side. You can pop straight in there and then the ink will come off really easily. I'm just going to make sure I get this edge as well. There we go. I'm going to lift that stencil off. Probably hard for you to see, but I can see the design there. I'm just going to turn that piece of paper over. I'm going to bring in this eyes ink powder. And this is the one that's clear with a bit of sparkling. So it doesn't like take too much emphasis of the card. I just want it as a bit of a background. I'm going to sprinkle that all over. Just make sure we cover it. And I'm going to tip that off. Just turn it around a little bit. You can see by not going straight as well, then you've got these interesting shapes like popping off the edge of your card. Sometimes with these designs, if they're too level, it looks like you've kind of like missed the edge of your card a bit. So that's a good tip there. I'll put that there. Get this back in its container so I don't spill it. Well saved, you say, Tracy. Is that because I forgot to answer that again? I'm terrible, aren't I? I try it so professional and then things like that happen. I'm like, how do I rescue this fast? Right, so I'm just going to just change this. And this one's a really good one. You'll see it like disappears more when it's actually reacting. So just get my gun on there. And you'll start to see it disappearing into the cardstock. I love this like clear glittery one though, it gives a nice effect. It's like an iridescent glitter as well, so it's got lots of little colours in it. Just moving that down. Just doing this side now. You can see this, it's got the black underneath, it's like taking that as its base tone, but you can see from that shine, it's lovely. And it's got kind of like, just gives a bit, I could use plain black card, but it just has a bit more depth to the actual back of this card design. That's our background for this kind of panel. So let's get that mounted into position first of all. I do like mounting them as I go along, just because I find it's nice that you can play around with the components afterwards. I've got some green glitter card for this one, which I thought was a bit of a change. And because it's glitter card, I'd always use wet glue and maybe tape runner, but I forgot my tape runner today, so I'm going to use a bit of double-sided tape to make sure it's secure in place. Just pop some of that down. A little bit more onto that one. So Maureen's issue like this embossing powder too. It's nice, isn't it? I've had glittery ones in the past, but I don't think I've ever had it with that kind of iridescent glitter in it. It looks lovely on white as well. You know, like if you do the embossing onto a white cardstock, it's a really nice kind of effect that you get. Bit of glue as well. Let's get that mounted onto there. Nice bit of a glittery border. We never have too much glitter, can we? Give that a good push down. Just flex that a little bit to make sure it's level. All right. And then we'll use a bit more glue on this one now. And then I've got our card blank ready, so let's put that onto there, and then that'll give that glue chance to grab as well while we're doing this. I mean, that's a lovely base card to start with, isn't it? You could even put just a central image on there with this new collection, that'll be fine, but I'm going to show you a slightly different way of doing this. Let's pop that up there to be setting. So if I bring up my stamping platform now, what I've done ahead of time is I've cut some like mats and layers. So I've got a rectangle, which I think is 3.5 by 4, and then I've got a slightly bigger mat for it in the glitter. So I wanted this kind of light size. And there's a trick here, is if you want this kind of like off, if I just show you on this one, you can see how I've like offset these corners to mount the square in the centre. You don't want to cut a square for this, you want a rectangle, then when you separate them, you can still keep the square shape, so it'll keep this more central. I'll show you what I mean by that in more detail. I'm going to bring up our little chopping board. I'm going to cut this corner to corner. You can use these like little guidelines, which are brilliant on here. Hold that down. Cut through that. Just take that out of the way. So if I've got a square to mount, if I got that as a square shape and I did it even wider, you'd end up with a rectangle shape. So by doing it rectangle to start with, you can then move them, look, into a perfect square shape. And it'll actually set better when it's on your cardstock. So that's something I learned. I always wondered why they look a little bit off when you do them. All right, so let's pop them in there. Magnet on there. I'm going to use one of the other background ones now. This is the one with like the gaming equipment on it, like the little start game and the gear sticks and the actual arcade machines. Let's get that into position. And I'm going to use black on this one so it really pops. Give that a good inking. Push that down to make sure we get all that detail on there. Look at that design, that's brilliant, isn't it? I'm just going to move that magnet now onto this bit we've done. And I'm going to realign this. So I can see that a little bit of the pizza there goes onto that bit. I use that as my reference point on both sides. And if you're a little bit off, it doesn't matter, because there's such busy, intricate patterns these, you'll not notice. Just ink that up again. And we'll just press that down. And this is going to give us like the corner details to make us sentiment pop more. Brilliant, so we've got that one there. Ooh. On there, let's get rid of that stamp. Move this under there a second. I'm going to cut my glitter layer now, same, so we can actually mount it. But just remember though, to cut it in the same direction. So this one I need to go this way. So if you do it the other way, it'll never fit. If it does fit, it's a miracle. So we're going to cut it this corner to this one. Use the guide on these paper trimmers again. There we go. And then we'll use a bit more of the red liner tape just to hold these into position. Ooh, can't find the end now. It's such a game changer though, investing in powders, isn't it? It opens up like a new level to your crafting. On that one. Bit backing off. A little bit of wet glue. And let's get that into position. We've got a nice bit of that glitter hard going around the edge. That's that one. And we'll do the same for the other corner now, so we can actually get this component layer done. A little bit of glue around the edge again. Just so it grips into that glitter card, because it's an uneven surface. We want to make sure we get it as secure as possible. We don't want it to fall to bits when the person receives it, do we? There we go. That got pushed down. I want to suggest if you can get it to work. What can't you get to work, Maureen? You have to let me know. I'm not sure what you can't get to work. I'm going to pull them over there. We'll bring up the stamping platform. We'll do the sentiment now, and then we've got all those actual items together so we can build this up. So I've got a little square there that's cut for the size of the sentiment. You know, I think I've forgot the sentiment. Not to worry. Let me grab this one from the earlier collection, and we'll have this as our middle element this time. Let's pop that down just there. Pick that up. Oop. Oh, we're going too well, weren't it? Right, let's change that over so it doesn't do that again. Keep that over like that. I'm going to stamp it in black. Yeah, that could push down. It's actually nice this, but you'll get to see the full design for this one. So I haven't used this component in a lot of demos up to now. I'm going to put a little bit more ink on that arrow at the top. It's very hit and miss with me, Simon, with embossing, really. That's me. Does it like come off? Does it not like stick for you sometimes? There we go. Let's get that out of our Eureka. And I've got a lovely piece of that matching glitter, which is going to set this off really well. So same as the one before, I'm going to put a little bit of red liner tape on the back just to make sure it's secure. I've got ink on my fingers. I'm trying not to get it on this white card as much as possible. Lift that backing off if I can. Ooh. A little bit of wet glue around the edge as well, just so it really bonds. Push down. There you go. So we've got all our components now to finish this card off. So I'm going to get some more foam pads in, so I really want to give it some height, this card. I've got our corners first of all, so let's get some foam pads underneath them. Thanks for joining us, Kathy. I would have thought 2 years, though. It seems to have flown, doesn't it? Let's get these in position first of all. So let's just get these back in, Monzo. Same with these ones. One doing ever so well. None of them fought with me today. Oh, he says, last one, look. Try from the other side. There we go. I've got our corners, and then we can decide where we want them on our card. So I think the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to place this one in this corner, leaving a nice bit of a border there, so we can use that as our gauge for where to put them. And I'm going to use this one down here with the same opposite corner, leaving the same border. And then that way, you can see that rectangle then becomes a perfect square. And that'll mean that we can put our sentiment in the middle, and it really does kind of keep it in the square kind of focus all the way through. So we're going to put some foam pads on this one now, but I need them on these corners. But I actually raised it up higher, not these ones. So if I turn them over, I know which ones it is. Put a little mark on them so I can remember. And we'll get some more foam pads. So right on the edge of these as much as we can, just so it gives a neater finish. That one over there. There we go. And then we can put that where we want it in the middle. Top of those. We've got lovely layers on that card now. And there you go. That's our second card in that green kind of like colourway. I'll bring in the red one as well so you can see the difference between the two. It just shows you those big sentiments on them new collections, how much they can just carry a card on their own. So that's just simply one sentiment and that background stamp, and then playing around with that stencil, which is optional, isn't it? So I'll bring in the other one. So these are the two cards that were made today. Hope you've had a bit of fun. I can't believe 2 years. I'm really excited about that, honestly. It just seems to have like we've had collection after collection, and there's loads more in the pipeline as well. So that's exciting times ahead. Just remember as well, when this video finishes, put a comment on the YouTube channel about your favourite collection, wishes happy birthday. Any comment that you make, I'll enter into the prize draw, and that's for a giveaway for the birthday. So thanks very much. Thanks for joining us, and I'll see you again next Monday at the same time for some more inspiration. But until then, see you later. Bye-bye.